Hey, it's Lori Lewis, the director, with another episode of the Before the Big Day podcast, YouTube edition. Before we get into today's episode, I'd like to remind you please subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so you know when a new episode is available. Also, give me a thumbs up so I know you got some really good wedding planning nuggets from this episode. This podcast is for all of you who are wedding planning, who are trying to avoid going into debt for your big day. And you need the advice from those who have firsthand knowledge and experience, those wedding industry professionals from across the country, and those real life couples who have been through what you're experiencing and want to share their testimonies. So without further ado, enjoy. Hello, everyone. It's Lori Lewis, the director, with another episode of the Before the Big Day podcast. Listen, I've been getting a lot of inquiries from the men because it is their big day as well, but I get a lot of inquiries about what they should wear and the colors they should wear and where they should go. And so I had the opportunity to actually go visit this wonderful man cave of fashion called Bleu Bowtique a couple weeks ago with my client. And so I asked the owner and founder to join me on today's episode. So welcome to the guest chair, Ne'Gyle Beaman.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Listen, let's jump right into it and talk about the name, Bleu Bowtique. And that's Bowtique. So let's talk about the name and how you found it, why you named it that, and then how you came to be in Midtown. And we're talking Midtown, Detroit, Michigan. Don't sleep on Detroit. So tell us all about it.
All right. So I'll give you a little background on the actual name and how it came into play. So I was having a conversation with myself, my wife, and my children at the time. My son was probably 10, so my daughter was right around the 4 mark. And I was explaining to them I was considering starting a business. And we were looking for a name. And he was liking to draw and things of that nature. So I said, I wanted you to help me with this design I'm thinking about doing. I've been a little bit older than 10. So we were talking about the names. And I'm like, man, I want to do a bow tie shop. And so my son accidentally says, you mean like a boutique? And we laughed. Okay. Completely laughed it off like a boutique. No, bro. It's a boutique that you're speaking of. It's not a boutique. And as I said, as I tried to correct him a couple of times to say it's not a boutique, I started saying, wait a minute, boutique. Let me look this up for a minute. So I did a little Google research. Of course, everything that came into mention with bow ties was all for women. It was for girls and hair bows and ribbons. So everything was just focused on bows and women. And I'm like, okay, so if pink is for girls, blue is for boys. Let's do a little play on this here. We're going to go with blue, give it the French spelling and make it a little different. And then we're going to actually incorporate the boutique, just like he said, because it's for bow tie. So it's more of a bow tie shop, but that boutique will be a play on words because I figured it would catch more women's eyes than men because it's like a boutique. What is this place? So that's how the name actually, so I give all the credit to my son for helping us come up with that mistake that turned into the right name for me, I believe.
I love that. How awesome. So tell us, you special, obviously bow ties is your specialty, but looking behind you, you see shoes, you see accessories, you see different colors, suit and tuxedo jackets. So tell us how it's kind of evolved.
Yeah, well, definitely, because I initially started out with just bow ties. That was going to be my source. That was going to be my thing. That was going to be my niche. I'm going to just have bow ties in here, just bow ties galore. And as I started developing these bow ties and people started requesting more of my look that even I was wearing. So that meant my suits, my pocket squares, the whole nine. So it was more than just the bow tie. So I started thinking like, well, how can I incorporate everything else to make this a larger offering outside of the bow ties? Because I was getting requests for that. And even back in high school, I graduated from Redford. And after that year, back then we used to have cabarets. So I was the guy you come to if we were going to a cabaret to get dressed up.
Nice.
I would take you to the mall, even though I didn't work at that mall. And people in the mall like, hey, can we help you? They're like, no, we're good. I got my guy here. He's going to take care of everything.
Okay.
So I've always had that passion for the fashion itself, but always just thought about it, coming into it, it was just bow ties. It was a specialty store. It was just something different. but I started to see the need of having more than just the bow ties because of the request from the customers. And like I said, I was getting compliments on what all I was wearing, the things I was having on. So I'm like, you know what? I've got to incorporate more into the shop as opposed to just bow ties.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So talking weddings now, and let's say, the groom and maybe groomsmen, let's talk groom at this point, because my grooms are just getting so creative. How do they begin the process?
Okay. So what I like to see is that the groom and the soon to be missus come in and have a consultation with me together.
Okay.
Because we want to make sure they're on the same page, whether it be color, the style, the look that she wants to see him in, as opposed to what he wants to wear, what he doesn't want to wear. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Mm-hmm. So I generally like to have that sit down with them because I want to know the time of year they're having this wedding, because the fabrics make a difference for me. What they're wearing as far as the color, the season, is it an inside wedding, outside wedding, where you're taking the pictures at afterwards. All that comes into play for me. So it's generally a sit down discussion between myself, the groom, and the real boss. Mm-hmm. So
the real boss.
The real boss, for real. Okay. So that's what we start at. Okay. That's the main thing for me. And from there, we move into our timing, our planning. Like, what do we want this big picture to look like? Because as you know, timing is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And that planning of getting everything in line. When's our cutoff date? Mm-hmm. When are we stopping with this? When are we going to make sure that this suit is in by now? When do we make sure all the shirts are done? Are we going all custom shirts? Are we going just simple tuxedo shirts? So that planning comes into conversation when I have that sit down with them. And from there, we move to the guy and, of course, his team.
Right.
And with that team, one of the things that I really stress most importantly is having the expectations laid out for the best man and for everybody that's in the wedding. Mm-hmm. Because there's some responsibilities there. And it takes a lot of stress off of the fact of the groom as well as the bride by having that person knowing their roles and what the responsibilities are for getting everything together.
Yes.
And I will sit down with the group itself too as well, and we'll move forward from there. Because sometimes it doesn't involve the group. Sometimes it can be just the groom and the bride saying, hey, this is what we're wearing. Everyone else is just going to do a plain standard black tuxedo. It's all about us that day. But then you have some who wants to have a big wedding party and want to make sure everybody's incorporated to looking almost the same.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So let's talk, you mentioned material. So is there, obviously, I don't know a lot. I know wool blends and linens, but is there a particular material that's just year round, or what do you, because weddings are all year now, right? The majority of weddings used to be like from May to September, but I did a wedding in January. I've got a wedding in December. So we're talking year round. So what is your suggestion for especially different seasons in Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. As far as what type of material should the guys be looking at?
Right. So in most instances, wool fabric is going to be your best. 100% wool, super 120s, 150s, because wool is the only fabric that's designed to basically adjust itself to your body temperature. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to be in a suit that's filled with different fibers to where it does a lot of wrinkling, such as a linen in an area where it's cold, and now you're not getting those wrinkles out of your suit and you're looking like an accordion by the time the pictures are rolling around. And then who was upset about that. So we have to be careful about what we're wearing. But high quality wool fabrics would be my number one recommendation.
Okay.
We're going to get the colors that we want to look for. We're going to get that clean, classic look, and it's going to be more elegant than some of the brighter colors that are in mixed fabrics, that it just doesn't give you that same effect when you go into the pictures. And even going into if the photographer goes into some black and white edits of the photos, you want to have really clean fabrics that are just going to lay on the body perfectly for those guys. So when it comes to material, that does matter. And that's like placement as well as where you're at too.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and of course, and I'm sorry, I will say too as well, the color matters as well. Because like you said, we're seasonal. We get all 4 seasons. So we don't want to go into the winter wearing the brightest ivory, yellow, light blue that we could possibly find. And we also have to take into consideration the timing of getting the color fabrics that we need.
Yeah.
Because most of the times we're going to be working a season ahead because of our timing. If we're properly into it, we're going to be a full season ahead of the game. So we have to know where we're going with that too.
And so that's the magic question, right? This color thing it's like, it seems my clients come to me for a certain color and I'm thinking, okay, shouldn't be a problem. So what is the challenge with getting certain colors at certain times of the year.
Right, because a lot of manufacturers that have the suits for us, or shall I say, are designing the suits,
Mhm.
they're working with the color schemes based off of the season. So,
Okay.
for example, we're going to go into the fall season. We know they're going to be the darker colors, the burgundy,
Mhm.
the navy, that deep green that everybody's looking for now. But generally, what happens is if they wait until August, September to start looking for that color, well, guess what? It's already been placed out there. And there's no more fabric runs left.
Okay.
So
Okay.
now you're waiting till the next season that comes around, and it's not available.
Right.
Yeah, because you waited to the last hour. We've got to move almost 6 months ahead of time when it comes to picking a certain color.
Okay.
Yep, for that season. I definitely highly recommend at least a 6 month turnaround time to be prepared for starting to choose those colors.
Okay.
Because if not, it's just like if we wait until November or December, and now we're looking for ivory, off-white. They've already ordered those products, and more than likely, you're not going to find everything you need. And keep in mind, when you're doing a wedding party, you're not going to get every guy who's the same size.
Right.
Just like the women, we got different sizes, different structures. So we're going to need a variety of sizes. We may find all the big and tall sizes. That's the only thing that's left. Or we may find only the shorter suits that are left. So
Right.
we got to take all that into consideration and move well ahead of time, especially if you want a particular color that's not just a navy or black. If you want something unique, you want something different, you got to have your timing together. You got to move 6 months to a year ahead of time. That would be my suggestion.
Okay. That's a great suggestion, especially for these custom colors. I didn't realize it was such a challenge, and I didn't think about it. I'm thinking, okay, colors should be available year round, but you're saying that's not the case. So
No, it's really not the case. And then we have to keep in mind too, the manufacturers are looking at the color schemes for the dresses more. So that's the bigger picture.
Okay.
As opposed to the guy suits.
Okay.
Because I've also found that I may have a color chart that gives me a breakdown of what the colors are this coming season. But then the color chart that you have for the bridesmaids dresses are completely different.
Right. Right.
Because they're moving so fast with the bridesmaids, because that's more of a, how can I put it? The bridesmaid side, the bride side of the wedding is more important than the guy. So it's kind of like, I'll give you a couple colors, bro. But other than that,
right.
That's it. So we can have 200 colors over here for the bridesmaids dresses, but you got these 3. Pick the closest one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It reminds me, I know this is totally off topic, but it reminds me, I have 2 sons, and you go shopping for the boys, and there's an array of girls' clothing, but one little section for the boys. That's what it reminds me of.
So if you don't mind me flipping this for a minute, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
I'm more than sure you go to a lot of bridal shows, right?
Yes, sometimes.
So what do you see besides just President Tuxedo?
Exactly. Same thing. Right. It's very rare. You get the rentals. So, and that's the other thing about you too. You do custom. These are no rentals, right? This is all custom purchase.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I had a gentleman who came in, quick story, maybe 2 weeks ago. He was renting a tuxedo, but he wanted a custom bow tie.
Oh.
He brought me the shoes that he was wearing or everything. So he wanted me to focus on that. So I had the perfect fabric for him. I made him a bow tie and he loved it. I said, but I want to see everything together because my work is like, it's art. I got to see it all together.
Yeah.
So send me your tuxedo that you're wearing. And he actually FaceTimed me from the shop, and he had to come back to see me again because the shirt they were giving him was a used shirt.
Oh.
And a lot of tuxedo places, when they have shirt rentals, because the exact neck size is hard to figure out for a person, what they do is they put an extension on the actual elastic piece that's on the button, the top button. So it can range from a size 16 to 17 inch neck, or 17 and a half to 18 and a half, but that's a big difference. So that gap, and especially if you're wearing a bow tie, if you got a gap within there and you can see that, you got a big wedding party, everybody's coming by to congratulate you, hugging you, kissing you, and your bow tie looks like a propeller by the end of the day because there's so much space in there.
Okay.
That makes a difference. So I told him, I said, man, you really want to go custom with the bow tie. In order to give it the look that you want for that night, you got to get a proper shirt. So yeah, we don't do rentals because those shirts can be worn um,
Yeah.
various times. And I feel like a shirt should really fit, because when at the end of the night, halfway through, the guy wants to take his jacket off, you don't want to look all wrinkled and
Right.
too much fabric is in there. It's been just balled up underneath your suit jacket. So that's why those things come into play.
Absolutely. So
That would be best.
that's good. That's good to know. So even though he rented his tux, he came to you and got his shirt and his bow tie.
Yes.
Okay. And I know for the wedding that I came to you, they're doing a custom bow tie for the groom, and the men are getting just regular ties that complement. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a multicolor bow tie. Of course, I won't give it away because we won't say the colors here. But we chose one of the good colors out of that actually matches the bridesmaids' dresses to give it that solid look, because the groom has to stand apart.
Of course.
He has to.
Yes.
Sometimes grooms are kind of like, yeah, it's her day, I don't care. But at the end of the day, you want to look good for her. So you do have to, separate yourself.
Absolutely.
From the rest of the guys. You don't want to get anybody confused and think that one of the groomsmen are actually the groom. No.
That's right.
It could be a difference. Yeah, definitely.
What are some other accessories? If a custom suit isn't in the groom's budget, besides the bow ties and the regular ties, what are some other accessories, without me giving it away because I've been there, but share the other accessories you have there?
Yeah, so if it's not necessarily a custom suit, there's so many things we could do different to a suit. Even if everybody had matching suits off the rack, whether we did something as unique as change the buttons on the suit to give it a different look. And of course, our jewelry, as far as accessories, just like ladies, the guys have it, but sometimes they just don't know about it. The watch makes a difference, the bracelets, the cufflinks, all those things come into play that you can add to your ensemble to give it that look. Because if it's something that you want to be a little extra with, as far as seeing some more color, then that's what we can add other things to. Yeah. So, and we also talked about adding pocket squares or even lapel pins. Those are things that are different accessories that actually give you that extra touch for the finishing ensemble there.
Yeah.
So definitely.
And what about socks and shoes?
Well,
I got a church member that's going to be watching this interview, and he's like a sock person, always showing his sock game on Sunday mornings when we're in person.
Okay. All right. So the socks are very critical. They're crucial. The sock game is a must. I know we've got a lot of styles now where some guys don't go with the socks, but once again, weather plays a very important factor to that. So you can't be in Detroit at Belle Isle in December going with the no sock game. It just won't work. Okay. Right. But if you're in Miami in the middle of May, different story. Right. But definitely socks matter. And sometimes I think that the socks are the contrasting piece that are the standout. Because you get those wedding photos at the end of the day where you see all the guys lined up or getting dressed, and it can be just, you see the tuxes, you see the suits, everybody's in uniform, but then that sock gives you that pop of color that really stands out. So that sock is the conversation piece. And then the shoes, of course, classic shoes, something that has a nice little shine to it. So whether it be a burnished toe, things of that cognac color, that ox blood, those are big classic shoes. Patent leather are also great as well. And it depends on the style of the cut of the tuxedo, whether you go with the loafer or whether you go to traditional monk strap or even a lace-up shoe. Wingtips, those are all suitable shoes. And I think that all the guys, as far as shoes go, I think that all the guys should be on the same page with shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would really complement the whole uniform.
Now, do you do custom socks?
So I haven't gotten the custom socks yet.
Yeah.
Just because the manufacturing on the socks would be so, how can I say, the quantities for socks.
Okay.
Yeah, they really want you to go really high end on socks. So if you
got
a design for socks, you got to get about 5,000 pairs. But yeah, socks are a different nature. But we do go after socks that I don't see everywhere. That's just like anything with me. I'm going to look for the most unique pieces, because you've been in the store and you already see that, no more than 3 of the same blazers, 3 of the same suits, even with the socks, no more than 6. So there's always something different and unique about what I'm going to pick, and giving us that time frame that we need for a wedding party. When I get those colors from that initial visit, a consultation, I start picking out things. My wheels start turning. And then if I find that right pair, I'm just going to keep looking until that moment is here.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, because I've also, I've even done a wedding before where nothing changed except for the socks probably about a week beforehand. Because
Okay.
I actually did the whole consultation for the party and I actually went to the wedding.
Okay.
So there I was able to dress all the guys, make sure their bow tie was tied properly, had their pocket squares exactly where we wanted it to be,
Okay.
changed the game on the socks, made sure everybody's pants were cut the way they were supposed to be cut. So that's part of the service that we offer too, as well as being able to actually be involved with that wedding party, not just give them the shirts and say, hey, okay, here's what you guys are looking for. See you later.
Right.
Look good.
Right.
No, that's not that's not all of it. Sometimes they need that extra because there's been wedding parties before. Matter of fact, 2 months ago, I had a phone call. The guy was bringing the whole wedding party to the shop here. They were getting married that day. Nobody knew how to tie a bow tie.
Oh, wow.
They had, I don't know where they had been. They weren't even from here. So they had their tuxedos, their shirts, their bow ties ready to go, but nobody knew how to tie a bow tie.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yep. So that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So do you do out of state orders? Like if someone out of state is watching this interview and they want to get in touch, I know you can shop online on your website, but will you also consult custom? Obviously, they would have to come in at some point,
Right.
but is that an option?
That is an option. Absolutely. They can start by emailing us, of course, or, reaching out to us or reaching out to me directly via phone.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not a problem. I just dressed a gentleman for his 50th birthday party. That was last month.
Okay.
From here. As a matter of fact, he lives in Missouri, but the party was in Vegas. So we were able to do everything between, he did make a trip here to the shop though.
Okay.
To Missouri, to shipping stuff out to Vegas. We did it all.
Awesome.
We did everything. So yeah, that's not a problem at all.
Awesome.
That's something I like. Those challenges like that.
Yeah.
That's cool by me. Yeah. Bring it on.
Sure. Absolutely. Wow. So that's a good segue into let everyone know how they could reach out to you, email, social media, website, if you wouldn't mind providing that information.
Nope, not at all. So we are located in Midtown Detroit. We're at 3939 Woodward Avenue, suite number 20. We're right next to the Garden Theater. So right off of Woodward and Alexandria. We're about 10 blocks from the stadium. So just in case, going towards downtown.
Yes.
So website, www.bleubowtique.com. I'll spell it out for you. It's BLEUBOWTIQUE.com. Our Instagram and Facebook are exactly that, at Bleu Bowtique. So BLEUBOWTIQUE. Yeah. And of course, like you already know, we carry everything. So whether it be from a custom bow tie all the way up to a custom suit, there's no accessory that we can't find for a gentleman to keep them nice and dapper. Everything can be found right here at Bleu Bowtique.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I'm excited. I'm telling you, I just got a text message last night. They're like, where can I get this suit? I'm like, call my guy. So I hope they've reached out to you, and I'm just looking forward to collaborating, in the future on future weddings. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
Thankful for your time. I know you just got back in town I hope you had a successful trip. I know you were looking for items that folks are going to need very soon, right?
Yeah, I actually did a little fabric hunting while I was out. So nice. I'll be posting some pictures pretty soon of just some layouts of the fabric. And actually, I'm going to get my camera out and do a little recording this time around because I'm going to lay all the fabric out early and start to cut it up. I'm going to do something a little special. I won't give it all away just yet, but I'm going to be doing something with the bow ties, whereas I'm going to give people the option to kind of design their own.
Ooh.
So I'm going to mix up a couple color patterns and let them, say, you know what, I want that one to go with that one.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So I love it. Then we'll stitch it later, but we'll lay it out for them to see it first.
I love it. Thank you so much. Again.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yes, absolutely. I gotta give some more attention to the guys. Like you said, sometimes the attention is more on the girls and the bride, but it's the groom's day too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Not to say it's her day.
It is, but let's
not get twisted. It's her day. But no, the guy has to look right, because I always ask them too as well. This is very important. Like, yes. What do you like to see him in?
That's right.
What style do you like to see him in? What colors do you like? Because he may say, you know what, I just want a blue suit. And she's like, well, I think I really like seeing you in a lighter gray, Right. It's her day and that's what she likes. And right. Brother, it's time to.
No, you're right. Absolutely. The bride last night, She was like, this is what I want him to wear. Who has this suit? I mean, so you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, because you're going to be standing there. Keep that in mind. So when she approaches you, you want her to be all smiles.
That's right.
So therefore, I always feel like, it's very important to know what she likes to see on you, and even color schemes too, because she may say, hey, you know what? I don't like the paisley pattern when he wears that.
Gotcha.
He may have gone into it thinking that way. Or she may say, hey, you know what? I like when you wear a lighter shade, or I like pink, how pink really pops on you. So we can find some way to, put pink into your ensemble. I love that.
Right.
So then it's up to me to find a way to get that pink in there. Even if he says, I'm not a pink guy, like, she loves you in pink. We got to make it work.
That's right.
We're going to make it work.
That's right. Make it work.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. And for those who are listening or watching, we thank you for supporting the podcast. Make sure to leave a comment, tag somebody that needs to go down to the Bleu Boutique and get their custom bow ties, neckties, accessories, custom suit, any of that. So make sure to tag them in the comments. And we thank you for supporting. And until next time, be well.